There is a car park in Leicester, England, that looks ordinary in every way. Faded white lines cross cracked asphalt. A chain-link fence rattles beside the remains of a medieval friary, nearly swallowed by the modern city. Nothing about the place suggests that beneath the ground lies one of England's greatest historical discoveries. But in the summer of 2012, archaeologists from the University of Leicester arrived with tarps, measuring tools, and excavation equipment to search for something almost impossible to imagine. They believed the lost grave of King Richard III might be hidden beneath the parking lot. What they uncovered would stun historians, scientists, and the world itself. The excavation team worked with the focused determination of people attempting something uncertain but extraordinary. Grid lines were marked carefully across the site, while buckets, brushes, and sieves were organized nearby. The lead archaeologist moved across the lot with calm authority, guiding the team with years of experience behind him. Around them, traffic passed through the city without concern. Curious pedestrians paused beside the barriers to watch the digging. Beneath the surface, however, something had remained hidden for more than 5 centuries, waiting silently for someone to uncover it again. The first sign appeared quietly. A trowel scraped against something solid beneath the packed earth. A brush swept gently across the soil, revealing pale bone beneath the dirt. The osteologist leaned closer, her gloved hands moving carefully as the team gathered around in complete silence. No one wanted to speak too soon. The only sound came from soft brushing against ancient earth. Slowly, more of the skeleton emerged. Years of forensic experience told them this was no ordinary burial. Everyone standing in that trench understood they might be looking at one of the most important archaeological finds in modern British history. Once the skeleton was fully examined, the bones revealed a story marked by violence and suffering. The spine showed severe scoliosis, a dramatic sideways curvature that would have visibly affected the man during life. It was not the monstrous deformity described in legend, but it was real. The skull carried signs of battle injuries, including a fatal blow from a bladed weapon. Other wounds suggested a brutal death in combat rather than a peaceful burial. The evidence spoke clearly in the language of forensic science. Whoever this man had been, he had lived through conflict and died violently during the late 15th century. Radiocarbon dating soon began inside the university laboratory. Bone samples were prepared with extreme care, sealed into containers, and processed through scientific equipment, while researchers followed strict procedures to avoid contamination. The calendar on the laboratory wall read 2012, but the chemistry within the bones pointed far deeper into the past. Radiocarbon testing could not identify a person, but it could reveal when they lived. When the final calibration results appeared, they placed the remains precisely within the second half of the 15th century, matching the historical period of Richard III with remarkable accuracy. The results appeared on a glowing laboratory monitor as lines, dates, and statistical ranges. To outsiders, the information looked ordinary. To the scientists studying it, the numbers carried enormous meaning. The remains belonged to someone who had lived during exactly the right historical period. Silence filled the room as the researchers stared at the screen. A gloved hand touched the printout while everyone absorbed the implications. Slowly, the realization settled over the team. The possibility they had once considered unlikely was beginning to look frighteningly real. The breakthrough came through mitochondrial DNA testing. Scientists extracted ancient DNA from the skeleton and compared it with the profile of a living woman connected through an unbroken maternal bloodline stretching back 5 centuries. She stood beside the monitor, quietly watching the sequences align. As the data matched, the significance became undeniable. The woman was a direct maternal descendant of the individual buried beneath the Leicester car park. The evidence connected past and present through generations of mothers and daughters. Science had achieved what once seemed impossible. The identity of the skeleton had finally been confirmed. The official announcement came during a packed press conference near the Friary ruins. Cameras crowded the area, while journalists waited for confirmation. The archaeologist stood at the podium beside the osteologist, both carrying the tension of a moment that would soon enter history books. Then the statement was delivered with careful scientific language. The remains discovered beneath the Leicester car park were identified, with extremely high confidence, as King Richard III, the last Plantagenet King of England, killed at the Battle of Bosworth field in 1485. The crowd erupted instantly as centuries of mystery collapsed in a single announcement. Not everyone accepted the discovery quietly. In the weeks that followed, debates and accusations spread rapidly across newspapers, television, and the internet. Some questioned how such an important skeleton could have been found so conveniently beneath a parking lot. Others refused to believe centuries of accepted history could be challenged by archaeologists and DNA testing. The arguments revealed something deeper than disagreement over bones. People were fighting over ownership of the past itself. The discovery forced many to confront the uncomfortable reality that evidence can overturn stories people have trusted their entire lives. Television studios and lecture halls soon became battlegrounds for historians, scientists, and critics. Discussions focused on Shakespeare, Tudor propaganda, forensic evidence, and the political meaning of Richard III's rediscovery. The osteologist remained calm throughout the debates, answering each challenge with careful scientific precision. Under harsh studio lights, she explained the injuries, the scoliosis, and the genetic evidence point by point. Interruptions came frequently, but she continued steadily, speaking with the confidence of someone who had personally examined the skeleton itself. The evidence, she insisted, mattered more than legend. Another conflict emerged over where Richard III should finally be buried. The issue became a legal dispute involving regional identity, history, and civic pride. Supporters from York believed the king belonged in their city, while Leicester argued the remains should stay where they had been found. Court hearings examined the question with remarkable seriousness. Lawyers debated the burial rights of a medieval monarch, while archaeologists attended proceedings carrying notebooks and legal documents. The entire process felt strangely English, procedural, formal, slightly absurd, and treated with complete seriousness by everyone involved. Inside a museum exhibition created around the discovery, visitors encountered the clash between myth and evidence directly. Tudor portraits and Shakespearean depictions presented Richard III as a twisted villain, shaped by political propaganda after his death. Beside them stood scientific displays showing the real skeleton under cold blue light, its injuries carefully labeled and measured. X-rays, forensic reconstructions, and genetic evidence challenged centuries of storytelling. Visitors moved quietly through the gallery, pausing between art and science, while reconsidering everything they thought they knew about the defeated king. For the woman connected to Richard III through DNA, the official confirmation arrived quietly in a small consultation room. A printed document rested on the table before her, while fading daylight filled the window behind her. She stared at the certificate for a long moment before emotion overtook her. 500 years of family history had suddenly become real and personal. Through an unbroken maternal line, she shared a direct connection with a king whose body had lain forgotten beneath a parking lot for centuries. The discovery transformed history into something deeply human. The greatest impact of the discovery reached beyond Richard III himself. It forced people to reconsider how history is written and who controls its narrative. Tudor victors had shaped the king's reputation after his death, and Shakespeare had immortalized that version for generations. Yet the bones told a more complicated story. They revealed not a monstrous tyrant, but a man with scoliosis who died fighting in battle. At dusk, the Greyfriars site grew quiet again beneath the lights of Leicester. A memorial plaque marked the place where the king had been found, while visitors stood silently nearby. The excavation had ended, but the questions it raised about truth, memory, and history itself were far from over. The ground beneath the modern city still hides countless untold stories, waiting beneath streets, buildings, and ordinary places where history survives unnoticed. Richard III's rediscovery proved that even the most familiar landscapes can preserve secrets powerful enough to rewrite national memory and challenge assumptions accepted for hundreds of years by scholars, politicians, and ordinary citizens alike.